IPMNation.com.
This is Cody Pope. You're listening to Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet FM.
Everybody, it's Local Outbreak here on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. And of course, we, as we do every week, we are at the studio at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia. TheStudioNH.com is the website if you want to check it out online. Funky little gift shop and art gallery. A lot of cool stuff here. So come on down, say hello to Melissa. Please support your local businesses as well as local music. Very, very important. The Studio, 50 Canal Street. Can't remember if I gave the address already, but it's worth repeating. Right here in downtown Laconia. And of course, we are sponsored by Central NH Events. If you need a DJ, you can go to centralnhevents.com. If you got a shindig or a hootenanny, you need someone to show up and DJ. Tim Martin does a phenomenal job. Centralnhevents.com, and he's a big part of what makes this show possible, as well as Mr. Matt Marcil from Tweak Sound and Mastering in Concord, New Hampshire. You can go to tweaksound.com. Matt's been a frequent guest on the show, and we also use a lot of his equipment for the show. So tweaksound.com is the website if you need to do some recording. He does a phenomenal job engineering, producing, mastering, the whole deal. So, and he's a really good musician as well. So a lot of good stuff. And we are talking this week with Cody Pope, who is joining us here at the studio. Cody, how are you?
I'm good, man. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We should mention, too, who you were referred to, who referred to you, of course.
Yeah, actually, my man 8Bizza showed me the show, and I was really, excited about getting on here, and I'm glad we were able to make this happen finally.
Absolutely. We were kind of talking off air about, he's probably one of my favorite guests, and I've done a lot of interviews, but I really enjoyed talking with him, and that track Ratchet that he has is phenomenal.
I'm telling you, man, this new music that he's got coming out is really special. It's he's pushing the limit of his capabilities further than I've ever heard before.
Yeah,
it's really, really cool. Look out for that Old Buick music album coming out soon.
Nice. We'll have to get him back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you brought a disc of your own tonight, 4-track EP called Hymns for Him and Her, Volume 1, Unloved. And as written and performed by Cody Pope. And we should mention, too, this is on Vatican Life Records, which is your label.
Yeah, Vatican Life Music Group. That's our official. We've been doing this for a few years, but this is our official first record.
Oh, Vatican Life Music Group. Okay. Yeah, I got to get the name right.
Hey,
what did I say? Vatican Life Records?
Hey, it's pretty much the same thing.
I'm thinking old school. We still say record in the industry.
Exactly.
So, yeah, cool. So we got plenty to talk about tonight. So why don't we'll open with a track. What do you want to play to open the show?
Hey, let's start from the beginning. We don't, who knows who's heard this yet. So this first song is called Please. It's produced by my man Decap.
Has this been on the radio yet? Have any of these been on the radio?
World Spins has the second song.
Okay.
We were fortunate to premiere that in Portsmouth on 106.1. But
nice.
Yeah, with Craig Mosier.
Excellent.
Shout out to Craig, great guy. He's been supporting a lot of the things that we've been doing for a long time.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I think all these are pretty brand new, so this will be the first time anybody hears them on air.
So this is a world premiere.
Yeah, exactly.
We like the world premieres here on Local Outbreak.
Yeah,
so.
I love doing it. The record actually just came out February 18th to CD, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and all that. So
excellent. Yeah,
we've had a few shows in between, but for the most part, if you weren't at the shows or if you weren't on iTunes, then this is a pretty new experience. So it always feels good to be able to show this stuff.
Nice. All right, let's take a listen. So this is Please from Cody Pope here on a Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet.
Clear view, well reflected through my ocular. If this don't kill me, I bet that seeing a doctor will. If this don't kill me, I bet that seems like a shocker. Cause I'm not flapping gums for people who only talk. Cause it's like being in purgatory with drips and water torture. If this don't kill you, don't think you'll survive my scorcher. You ignore ordinary wizard. I was born a sorcerer. Life's a bitch who die, and I am the only source for her.
Give myself anxiety from living irresponsibly. Ghosts of bad decisions giving me hell and haunting me. Don't wanna be a but I made a mistakes. The things to be a king, don't know if I have what it takes. Idly face sobriety, but friends keep a crooked eye on me. Died asleep, or lie at peace, alive with pieces of dying speech. Wish I had no debts, you'd bet I'd blow holes in my chest. Like rock stars, we like best, I'm just locked in all my stress. Can't take fate, and my destiny is testing me. I've been living messily, I don't even use mescaline. People tell me to tough it up and overcome my problems, but they don't got solutions, so they not coming to solve them. I'd give whatever I could give, someone shoot me in my sleep. Unison till I'm snoring, look under the master key. Maybe slip me another pill, yo, and give me a drink to swill. Face me down on my pillow, be quick and abrupt to kill. Please take this away, not deserving of this punishment. I did some things but not killing myself for other shit. Please take me away, I'm not sure I can handle this. I'll try to be the glue but someone's trying to dismantle this. Please take this away, I'm not guilty of all these sins. Who the hell am I kidding? This hell right here that I'm living. Please give me an end, tell me what time this stops now. When they show up at my door, start to let the shots out. My back hurts, feels like I'm stretching out a pretzel. Can't talk me down even if you were God's vessel. I love my girl, I love my friends, but hate existing. I love my family, they mean well, but nobody uplifting. My head hurts, feels like a hammer bouncing off the walls. Can't have kids, I got hell spawn living in my balls. Rapidly rapping lessons, stresses I've invested in. Doing what I gotta to tell myself I'm the best again. Went from boy to punk to hellhound to a king with a curse. Went from bikes and skateboards to giving my brain a hearse. Loved Batman, thought I could be that man, but I got uphill battles, no sight to see in the flatland. Pour my heart out like liquid from tea kettles. Set the score now, then dip till the heat settles. Never tell a kid that he or she is special. Let them discover for self, and the rest will. Please take this away, not deserving of this punishment. I did some things but not killing myself for other shit. Please take me away, I'm not sure I can handle this. I'll try to be the glue but someone's trying to dismantle this. Please take this away, I'm not guilty of all these sins. Who the hell am I kidding? This hell right here that I'm living. Please give me an end, tell me what time this stops now. When they show up at my door, start to let the shots out. Put the pieces to the puzzle, they try to give me a muzzle. I'm the Venn diagram connecting fools envying who I am. Actions like hieroglyphics, don't get it but can't miss it. Sacrifices are silent but screaming for mental prison.
Once an addict, always an addict. I'm back at it, couldn't attack it. I'm laying in traffic, my brain's static.
Used to being broke, I'm way more than well accustomed. People say they got my best interest, but I don't trust them. Not too many left who got problems, cause I said fuck. Besides, I'm so broke, can't buy ammo enough to buck them. My view is clearer now, more than it's ever been. I walk the line like this hellhound was heaven sent, but I still struggle to eat and keep up with the rent.
So I still struggle to defeat all my tries to be dead.
Please take this away, not deserving of this punishment. I did some things but not killing myself for other shit. Please take me away, I'm not sure I can handle this. I'll try to be the glue but someone's trying to dismantle this. Please take this away, I'm not guilty of all these sins. Who the hell am I kidding? This hell right here that I'm living. Please give me an end, tell me what time this stops now. When they show up at my door, start to let the shots out.
Local Outbreak here on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. And we are chatting tonight with Cody Pope, and he's got his new disc. It's quite the title, Hymns for Him and Her, Volume 1, Unloved. Tell us about the title. It's
Well, basically what it stems from is I was originally going to put out another full-length record. I put out my first full-length in January of last year. It was called Every Blessing Has Its Price. You know, it was 20 songs.
That's a cool title.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing is I like to keep the same aesthetic and the same themes with all these records, which ultimately at the end of the day comes back to lessons that I've learned through my life and what I've been trying to do to take things that I've gotten myself into or things that have happened to me and figure out how to turn that into strengths and positives. So
Sure.
Hymns for Him and Her was originally going to just be a full length. But, you know, at the end of the day, people don't necessarily have the attention span or the time even to, you know, sit around and listen to like an hour, 2 hour long record.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got quick drives, quick train rides, you know, short breaks at work, this and that.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to do something that was a little more digestible and that people could really sit through and feel like they got the whole gist of it. So instead of doing a full length, what I'm doing is doing 4 different EP series.
Okay.
So there's going to be 4 hymns for him and her. Each of them covers a different theme. of things that have been kind of, unearthed from the ground in the different parts of these lessons.
Oh, okay. So the first one is Unloved.
Yeah.
And then the next one will be something. Do you know what the next one's going to be yet?
Yep. Actually, the next one is going to be coming out in May. This is the first time we're announcing it, so this is kind of cool. But
Wow.
Hymns for Him and Her Volume 2, it's going to be Unkind, and that's
Okay.
going to come out it's going to be out the week of May 15th. I think the date for the actual online release is the 13th or so, but we're going to be doing the release event on the 15th.
Okay. Now, these all together, will they tell a story, or is it more just they're kind of conceptually linked, but not necessarily linear?
They're conceptually linked, but it's almost like different chapters to a book.
Yeah.
So they touch on the same themes, but for different reasons.
Okay.
So, Unloved was a little more of the emotional angst of what I had been going through to get this record going, some of the trials and triumphs, so to speak. And Unkind is a little more aggressive. It's a little more I've come this far, I've done this, and here's what my goals are set out to be.
Yeah.
And then the other records, we're going to take themes that kind of divulge more into that.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm always interested in talking to guests about what goes into those decisions to, either release an EP or release a full length or release a single. Or,
Yeah.
So your previous release was a full length, you said?
Yeah, it was 20 songs.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's quite the hefty record.
It's almost a double album, really. Yeah.
That's the thing. We're going to be putting it out on vinyl later at the end of the year. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, we've talked to a few people about it, but now we can finally touch on it on air.
Yeah.
December of this year, we're going to re-release the album on vinyl, new cover art, probably some remaster work and stuff, just so that it gets the treatment that it really deserves. It took a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money, a lot of people's, education and dedication and energy. And we didn't, at the end of the day, we didn't have the tools and resources to push it and promote it the way that we do now.
Sure.
So, we're doing these short releases this year. I've got a lot of different EPs and short projects coming out. And then right around Christmas time, hopefully we'll be able to give that gift to the world of the double LP vinyl.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Some of our listeners might not even realize, that not only did vinyl never quite go away, but in the past several years, particularly, it's I think as far as major label stuff, I think everything now is released on vinyl.
Yeah, I think it's making a huge resurgence now. You go to a bookstore and they have a vinyl section.
Oh yeah, nothing sounds better than vinyl. It's got
I agree.
that warm analog sound, and also too, a lot of the stuff that comes out, people will buy it and never actually play it. If they're a diehard, because I know people who buy vinyl who don't even have a turntable.
Right.
They just buy it and they leave it sealed because if they're a big fan of that artist, they want to keep it. But
I love vinyl though, and I try to be that person sometimes. I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll buy 2 copies of it. But it's with the way that vinyl is, it's you really just got to appreciate it for what it's worth. Shout out to all the vinyl collectors, of course. I love collectors items of all types, especially the idea of taking music and making it almost like an art piece that you hold on to and it grows value over time and doesn't depreciate. Things like that really are what music ends up being about to me at the end of the day, is what's the whole experience. A digital download is cool, getting stuff off iTunes is super convenient and it's super great to have. But at the end of the day, how memorable is something that took you 3 seconds to download versus something that you can hold in your hands and feel the ridges on and see the ink splatter and all this stuff. It's
look at liner notes and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a whole experience, and that's really everything that I do and everything that we do with Vatican Life at the end of the day is about the experience. Whether we're hosting a show or putting out a record or even just something like building a website, all the things that we do encompass the experience that the person's going to have and why are they here and why should they spend time involved in all the content that we're giving them. Right.
The other thing about vinyl too, that I mentioned how nothing sounds better than vinyl. A lot of people don't realize that you lose something, like with an MP3. An MP3 doesn't sound as good as a CD, and a CD doesn't sound as good as vinyl. The more compressed it is.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that. With the compression and the breaking down of the format and whatnot, it's tough to get that same original quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the full length that you put out previously, is that your only full length?
Yeah, that was actually my first full length. I've done
Okay.
mixtapes and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
Every Blessing Has Its Price was really my first like full length, fully original, all me debut project, so to speak.
Yeah.
I had dabbled with certain producers and I had, put out some free projects and stuff, but then with Every Blessing Has Its Price, that was like what I would consider my first like serious effort into my like professional music career.
Okay. And who is Decap? Because I noticed it says, except for World Spins, which we'll play later, I noticed that the other three are produced by Decap. Who's that?
Decap is actually a really, really good friend of mine. He's been one of my main producers from the moment that I started kind of getting serious about my craft. And he's mentored me along the way. He's engineered most of my records, and he produces a lot of the beats. He's actually from my hometown of Nashua,
Okay.
but he's moved out to San Francisco now, and he's been fortunate to work with a lot of people like Talib Kweli and Raekwon, and he does a lot of work with Ableton. I don't know if you're familiar with Ableton. Like
Ableton, I don't know.
It's the audio workstation. It's
Okay.
like a recording software.
Oh,
And
okay.
they also make the push MPC thing too.
Okay.
He does a lot of stuff with them, like
Oh.
doing like videos and
Oh, wow.
showcases. And, yeah, so he's really helped me encompass the all around musical aspect.
Yeah.
When I was first getting into it, it was about raps and doing fast raps and,
Sure.
and being lyrical and this and that. But like Decap's done a lot to show me about the whole spectrum of the business, the art, the what goes into making it, the engineering, everything, and I can't thank him enough for all the work that he's helped me put into all these records that we have coming out together.
Too, you talked about the business aspect of it and learning that, because it is important. You have to treat it like a business, or you won't get. If you want to do this as a career, you have to treat it as a business, obviously. But
Yeah.
it's one of the things I've always been kind of fascinated by is it's in hip hop you can talk about that, you can embrace it, and it's not something that you have to hide. Whereas in other genres, like if you're in a rock band, you're kind of, unless you're Kiss, who get away with it,
Yeah.
which is fine with me because they're my favorite band. But
Hell yeah.
but generally, if you're in a rock band, you kind of can't get away with talking about it like it's a business, even though you have to treat it that way. But you're not. You know what I mean? It's like this weird
it's
rule.
definitely tough. Before I was doing hip hop, I played in a lot of hardcore bands,
Oh, really?
and punk
Yeah.
bands and metal bands and stuff like that. I started doing that when I was about 14, 15 years old. Especially with
Yeah.
hardcore and punk in particular, like it's like you don't even talk about it being a business.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
it's just like taboo.
It's almost like uncool if you come off
Yeah.
as ambitious.
People are like, oh, you're a sellout, or
Yeah,
oh, you're
yeah.
doing it to make a buck, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And it was like, I went back and forth with feeling that way, but at the end of the day, it's like, the most pure art, the most pure music, all that stuff comes from people who typically have the time and energy and focus to give it everything it deserves.
Right.
And if you go to work 9 to 5, or you go to work 40, 50 hours a week, you don't have all that time and energy to be as passionate about it. And it's,
Yeah.
so that's where the fine line comes for me. It's like every time I have a record come out, I end up working some part-time job or whatever
Sure.
to help fund the record and this and that. But it's like, it takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
You
Oh, yeah.
go work for 8-9 hours, and then you go into the studio for 8-9 hours, or
Yeah.
you go to work until 6-7 at night, and then you have a show 3 hours away, and you come back and you got to be at work in 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. So, I understand kind of both sides of the conversation.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to monetize art for the sake of monetization,
Right.
but you also don't want to have to like kill yourself and break your back to do what it is that you're talented and passionate about doing.
That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, absolutely. Why don't we play another track from the disc?
Great.
And and before we do, tell me about because this is the one that's produced by DC the MIDI Alien.
yeah. Shout outs to DC. It was a huge honor to work with DC. He's been a part of this New Hampshire hip hop community for a long time. He's worked with some great people. He's worked with Ape the Grim. He's worked with Terminology and Rex and
Wow, okay.
Army of the Pharaohs and Slain and all sorts of people like that. And he stayed consistent over all these years. So
Yeah.
when we kind of were able to build that relationship, shout outs to Ape the Grim for actually like getting the connection going and getting us talking and stuff. And he's a great guy, and he really is passionate about what he does, and he has a strong understanding of how he produces music and how he does all of his different production work and stuff. So
cool.
It was really cool to work with him. We're definitely going to do some more stuff this year. I got some more songs in the can with him.
Excellent. All right, so we'll take a listen. So this is World Spins by Cody Pope from the disc Hymns for Him and Her Volume 1 Unloved. Let's have a listen here on Local Outbreak on IPM Nation.
Tonight to a Superman picking fights. I might ignite like a Caliban during strife. Slip through the night like ninja motion in flight. I Bruce Lee, Bruce the beat, touch a mic. They overlook Pope, think he's another one of them. Ignored and look past, easier to play dumb again. Don't fit no circle except the one that I'm growing in. Stay in my lane, cruise control, how my flow begin. Don't have a grandma to know where all the bodies are. Just have my own self to look at where my body's scarred. Wonder what if they take my brains and just leave me jarred. Or they take my brains and my body is large. Don't know my name? Preacher of pain eternal. I spit flames that'll hurt worse than any burn will. This real life, I'm spitting more than my journal. I'm no lieutenant, I'm Lieutenant Major Colonel. Like the match, I'm starting this bitch from scratch. A new batch, in fact, I unlocked the latch. Mystical gifts will kill unless you possess the power. Intricate trinkets technically can't possess and devour. Toss your TV if you don't own a couple books. You ain't an artist cause you sang a couple hooks. Say you ain't shook but flinch when we shoot a couple looks. Cooking up live days when you birds a couple crooks.
The world spins, got me trying to catch up on sleep. Skin's ice feels like I've been up for weeks. Direct flight, right? That will make this night complete. But I'm just grateful for platefuls of something good to eat. The world spins, got me trying to catch up on sleep. Skin's ice feels like I've been up for weeks. Direct flight, right? That will make this night complete. But I'm just grateful for platefuls of something good to eat.
I'm barehanded, feet beating my chest, climbing the mountain. Don't know what's at the top, but the time it takes, I'm not counting. Been at the bottom, gate city life like Gotham. Made bad decisions while living, this guy don't cross him. Goddamn, mystical, mythical, prolific, gifted. That's what they call me, or just what I've been christened. They never listened until my budget existed. Made that myself too, nobody ever did. Ish, first time I still believed in Jesus. Used to walk from shows to Taco Lupitas. First time I drove the east, I played guitar in bands. Most them friends faded away like this cause of man. Lies treat you deceitful like villains in fighting games. Some of your friends mad when the focus and lighting change. Always first to mention how they don't need your attention. Well, they lives in house suspension while you out making a pension. Used to form bands, form plans, and shake more hands than presidents and residents pretending they in command. Knew one day I'd make my way and shake the ground foundation. Guess I didn't know how, but wow, now I'm bound in stations. Sometimes I wake up and feel I drove drunk to my bed. Yesterday's a blur and tomorrow will funk my head. Smoke a cigarette, now tomorrow smoke skunk instead. Starting to lose my mind, hope you recorded what I said.
The world spins, got me trying to catch up on sleep. Skin's ice feels like I've been up for weeks. Direct flight, right? That will make this night complete. But I'm just grateful for platefuls of something good to eat. The world spins, got me trying to catch up on sleep. Skin's ice feels like I've been up for weeks. Direct flight, right? That will make this night complete. But I'm just grateful for platefuls of something good to eat. The world spins, got me trying to catch up on sleep. Skin's ice feels like I've been up for weeks. Direct flight, right? That will make this night complete. But I'm just grateful for platefuls of something good to eat. The world spins, got me trying to catch up on sleep. Skin's ice feels like I've been up for weeks. Direct flight, right? That will make this night complete. But I'm just grateful for platefuls of something good to eat.
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. And we are here at the studio as we do record the show here every week at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia. Want to remind everybody, too, that we also archive all the shows at ipmnation.com/local outbreak, going all the way back to the beginning. I think we are in year 6, so it's been a while that we've been doing this. So IPMNation.com/local outbreak. And, of course, the show does run on both 100.1 The Planet and the IPM Nation live station every Saturday night at 9 p.m. with a replay Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And then they do go up on demand on the site. And we are chatting with Cody Pope. He has his new disc, Hymns for Him and Her, Volume 1, Unloved. And it's on Vatican Life Music Group. And I want to ask you about that because,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I love talking to musicians. Obviously, I also love talking to entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So when I get to talk to someone who's both, you know, that's really cool. And I think too, you know, I've always. We haven't spent the money to do any exhaustive demographic research in terms of our audience, but I've always kind of operated under the assumption that's probably people, mostly musicians, who are active in the local scene or at least interested in the local scene or whatever. So, you know, things like advice, lessons learned, etc., I think are probably useful for this audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it that made you want to start Vatican Life instead of, you know, just, you know, releasing it? And I mean, because obviously you're working with other artists, and I assume you have kind of a long-term plan to really grow the label.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why I wanted to start Vatican Life was, like I was telling you off the air, I'd played in a bunch of punk bands and a bunch of hardcore bands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there was this energy about being in a band that was so stimulating, you know, to your brain, to your you know, the way you play or write your music. But that energy never seemed to move past being in the band or writing songs or playing shows. And then, you know, like, you know, everything becomes stagnant. So at the end of the day, you know, waiting on a band or waiting on a record is kind of like waiting on a record label. You know, if everybody at the label isn't on the same page as you, or they don't have the same vision as you, then sometimes you can get screwed. And,
sure.
And as an artist, it's tough to have a vision and not be able to execute it. So for me, Vatican Life is kind of is a learning tool for me to learn how to do all of the things that need to be done in the record industry. You know, there's so many different divisions of labor that people don't understand. So I'm trying to learn all of those things. And as an artist, be able to help other artists, you know, be like, what is your vision? How can we execute it? And here's what I think is the best idea. And if you like it, great. If not, let's figure it out.
Right.
But that's really, Vatican Life essentially came from us being able to do everything for ourselves, us being able to create all of our own content, host all of our own events, and really just be an addition to a culture that is growing but isn't as huge as other places. You know, New Hampshire hip hop isn't, or even New Hampshire music and arts for that matter, because I don't like to just generalize it as hip hop. You know, I like working with all sorts of artists and musicians on different mediums in general. But you know, New Hampshire arts and music scene isn't as vibrant and as vital as it could be, especially you know, for me, like I've toured down the East Coast and through other places, and you know, you go to even Boston, you know, the Boston hip hop scene compared to New Hampshire is, you know, it's like fruits and it's like oranges and apples or something, you know what I mean? It's just two different things. So it's like we can't change how everybody works and how everybody feels, but we can change what we offer ourselves. And anybody that wants to offer those same things to themselves, let's work together and you know, do it in unison.
You know, what's cool about what you said is, you know, the scene here may be lacking in some ways, but you're being proactive about doing something about it, because I know a lot of people who will express that sentiment. You know, maybe they feel like the New Hampshire music scene or the New Hampshire hip hop scene, if they want to be, whether they want to be specific or general about it, they'll express frustration with it, and that's all they do is complain. And
that's really where it came from for me too.
Yeah.
You know, people complain that studio time costs too much, or people complain that shows aren't entertaining enough, or they complain that there's not enough shows if they're an artist, you know?
Right.
And that's where a lot of the things that I do come from me not wanting to wait on other people, honestly.
Right.
You know, it's like with only a handful of promoters doing shows in my genre of music, I can't always wait on promoters to give me shows because they don't want to have the same people in their clubs month after month after month.
Right.
So, you know, my responsibility as an artist is I'm either going to host my own shows at a different venue to add on to what's already going, or I'm going to tour and go out of the community. And fortunately, I'm able to do both of those things. But as an independent artist, you can't always tour 30, 45 days in a row,
right?
You know, on the kind of salaries or lack thereof of salaries that we make. You know what I mean?
Right,
so,
of course.
So hosting events and putting out records and building our own recording studio and doing podcasts and all that different stuff, it's our way of generating content so people see us, like you said, being proactive about the things that we don't like. You know, It's like we love being on radio. We love being able to do interviews like this. But, you know, at the end of the day, because of our community, we're not getting calls every week to be on radio shows and stuff like that. But to get the word out there, we need to be on radio. We need to be on shows. We need to be on the internet and all these different platforms. So
exactly.
If we can't get it from other people, let's create it ourselves until they see what we're doing and they either want to link up or at least share resources.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good approach. When you played in bands, were you by default, were you usually the guy who handled the business and booked the shows and all that?
Eventually I did become that guy.
Yeah.
You know, if you ask a lot of my older bandmates, they'll probably tell you how annoying I was, how much of a pain in the neck I was. You know, just because this is what I've always wanted. You know, since I was a young kid, I've known that I've always wanted to pursue music professionally in one manner or another. Whether, you know, obviously I want to be a performer and I want to be able to go out and tour and do all those things. But at the end of the day, I just want to be able to put food on my table and be able to feed my family off of doing music, whether I'm in the studio or I'm out performing, or if I'm working for another artist who has a potential to do something greater than I could. I would like to be in that person's corner and help them get where they need to go, as long as I can feed myself at the end of the day.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have, so are there other artists at this point on Vatican Life, or who you're going to be releasing their music? Or
we actually, for the past few years, I've kind of been the stable artist just because, you know, of building the label, trying to kind of get our foundation set up and whatnot. But things have been going really good this year, and fortunately, like I was telling you off air, we're actually going to be working with 8Bizza this year. After he puts out his next Old Buick music record, we're going to be doing a record with him on Vatican Life. We're also working with another artist from Keene. His name is Brains. He's a younger MC, but, you know, he's got a very like raw, kind of unpolished style, for lack of a better term. But you know, he's at college. He's a young guy, so he's got that like gritty perspective on what you see in college when you're not in class, or what you see in life when you're not the typical college student or something.
Sure.
So we're going to be doing a record with Brains soon as well. I've got some more records coming out. We're going to be working with an artist from Boston. His name is Lee. He's part of a group called Secret Society. We got more to announce on that, hopefully soon. And we're always looking for more artists to work with. We try to work with everybody on a project basis, so that way, you know, we don't like sign artists to the label, because at the end of the day, Vatican Life is supposed to be a stepping stone for artists to get where they want to go. And if you have bigger goals than what Vatican Life is capable of doing, we want to help you get to that point. So rather than, you know, let's sign you for 5 years or 4 albums or something, we just try to work with people on a project by project basis. And if they enjoy the experience like we do, then there's opportunity for us to keep building, and hopefully our roster is going to solidify itself that way.
Are you also kind of involved in helping people with the management aspect of
I'm actually like the creative director for Vatican Life, so my responsibilities involve heavily on the artistic and business direction of what we're going to do and what we're going to offer and whatnot. But because I am an artist, and because a lot of these relationships are built through me, I tend to kind of, you know, unintentionally take that manager role. You know, Bizzo will actually tell you jokingly, you know, he's like, oh, I pretty much have a manager now since I've been working with you. And it's just one of those things, you know, it's like, it's just that, like, that father figure, like, I want to help everybody get to the same point that I'm at. And if I see that you have the same passion that I do, I'm going to put as much of the bull behind you as I am behind me to push it where it needs to go.
No, that's cool. And that's kind of, I feel like, too, a lot of labels now, you see it with the major labels where they have these 360 deals where they're involved in all of an artist's, for better or worse, all of an artist's business. But I think we're seeing that more too with independent labels and like what you're doing, where you kind of almost by default you take on that management role, even though in theory the business has changed so much. But traditionally labels were responsible for releasing the music and promoting it, and then the rest of it you're kind of on your own. But it sounds like you're almost by necessity kind of taking on a bigger role, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I've always seen is back in like the 70s and the 80s and 90s, record labels had artist development, so they were going out of their way searching for that that special talent that hadn't been found, and they wanted to take that person and build them up. Nowadays you don't see that though. Any record label wants to sign somebody who's already a machine on their own without needing, you know what I mean? Like they want to invest money into things that are a sure bet.
Exactly.
And because of that, and because of the way technology has allowed everybody to do things on their own, it creates this new dimension that you have to get over of like, well, if you want to be an artist that's on a record label and you just want to be able to do your art and have people focus on the other stuff for you, then you really have to be your own business before anybody will take you to that point.
Right.
So for Vatican Life, I feel like, because I would never not sign to a record label, you know what I mean? That's obviously not my output, but labels aren't coming knocking at my door right now, so I am the label.
Right.
And I feel like for a lot of artists, they need that. They need somebody who is willing to say, I am the label for this person, and do what they need to do until that person can move on to their own.
Are you ever surprised in talking to people how many people don't realize the way the business has changed?
Yes and no. I'm like, part of me wants to be baffled all the time when because I talk to a lot of artists, and obviously I play a lot of shows. I talk to different, rappers and whatever, and people really just, you would think that everybody that's doing things the way I am, in the sense of just like performing and trying to get shows and get appearances and this and that, you would think that they would be studying this stuff backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like, I'm one of a handful of people who genuinely is concerned with understanding this business. And that's not to knock anybody else's hustle, but at the end of the day, if you're gonna like sit in your apartment and cook up beats on the laptop and put your music on SoundCloud, and that's where it ends, then that's on you. Like, you can't like blame the community or blame the industry for not like picking you up if you're not willing to execute the work and have a real business plan. It's like,
it's the tree falling in the woods that nobody's around to hear.
A lot of people think that if it doesn't happen in a year or two, that they should just give it up. And it's like, the way I see it, and a lot of people might not like this, but it's like, as an independent musician, you have to look at yourself as a small business. Same way as running a store or running a media company or anything.
Exactly.
It's like, as an artist, every song that you make or every verse that you feature on or whatever is an asset to your business. Those are things that you can monetize off of, and those are things that you can use as promotional tools to grow the amount of business that you can take. And I just think a lot of people don't look at it from that sense, because like we were talking about earlier, they feel like they're a sellout, or they feel like it's not cool to like want to be a business guy or whatever. But it's like, you have to be able to feed yourself to make a living. And if you're going to sit around and complain and moan that things aren't going how you want them to go, you're the only person you can blame. If Cody Pope doesn't have enough shows or have enough music or enough streams or downloads or whatever it is that I care about this week, that's on me at the end of the day. It's my responsibility to advertise and market myself and promote myself. It's my responsibility to handle my own business and handle my own bookkeeping, and it's my business to make sure that things are going in the direction they need to go. A lot of people just don't hold that responsibility, I feel like.
They think if they're talented, it's supposed to just happen to them.
Everybody thinks because they can YouTube some rap songs and they can do it just as well, that's what it takes. And it's like, this is an art form just like any other kind of music or any other medium of making art. And if you don't understand the complexities that go into surviving off your art, then you're not going to be able to do it. We're just not in that same day and age where people are giving out handouts to be like, hey, you're really talented, let me do everything that you need to get done for you. It's just not happening.
I have an axiom that sprang from my own experience in the business. It's everyone wants to be a star, but only as long as it's easy.
Yep.
You know, and longtime listeners have heard me talk about, it comes up from time to time on the show, the mythical record company scout that some people think is a real thing that still exists, you know, where you just go and you play the same bar every weekend, and eventually this mythical record company scout's going to come wandering in.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They're going to be so impressed and enamored with you, they're going to hand you a contract with a 10-album deal, and then they're flying you out to LA. And
yeah, it's even like playing shows with headliners and stuff. You know, it's like a lot of people, they're fortunate to get on shows with these big touring acts, and they think, well, you know, I'm opening for, you know, Jay-Z or something, you know, obviously not that big, but, you know, they got some big show, and they think that if they kill it that night, that's going to be it. That's going to get them to where they want to go. And it's like, most of the times these big artists aren't watching you perform. They could care less, and their team is too busy working for them.
Exactly.
So it's your responsibility to make the most of that opportunity. You know, those are great opportunities, and those are great ways to network and get yourself out there, but it's on you to do it.
Right.
You can't just show up and expect people to flock to you and be like, you're the greatest guy that I didn't pay to come here see. Like,
yeah. How do you feel about, and I don't even mean artistically, but just in a business sense, a guy like Macklemore, for example, who you know, really, I mean, he never signed to a big label. He kind of built himself from the ground up. And
see, I have mixed feelings about the whole Macklemore situation, and the only reason I say that is because I don't feel like I have a full understanding on it for me to like comment necessarily, but from a lot of the things that I've read, they didn't sign to a label, but they were capable of hiring Universal or Warner Brother, whoever it was. They would hire their radio and promotions team.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like they basically hired the staff of the label without signing a deal.
Oh,
and the label,
interesting.
you know, so it's like, from what I know, the label still gets a cut of the music that they promote and that they put out and all this stuff. There's just no deal negotiating the terms as to when their records have to come out and who has to be involved in it and all this stuff. I think
that's interesting.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that's just from what I've read. I don't have a full understanding of the situation and how that would work, and I also don't know how one would come up with those kind of funds without having major label backing. Yeah, but that's just me, I guess.
Maybe he's a trust fund kid. Who knows?
Exactly. That, you know, I hate to say it because, you know, it's like you're born into what you're born into. But it's like, you know, if you're, you know, a trust fund baby or, you know, rich dad and rich mom, and they're willing to buy you features or placements or distribution, it's cool that you are capable of doing it. You know what I mean? Like, more props to you, but it's just, it's not really something that has a lot of integrity behind it to me that I'm going to stand by and be like, wow, look at this guy. Yeah. He had $20,000 to put out his record, and it's awesome. Like, well, I hope if you have $20,000 that your record's awesome.
It better be a hit.
I've
for
done
that
mine
kind of
on
money.
$5,000, and they're pretty good. Like,
yeah. Is there anyone who kind of inspires you or that you look up to in that sense in hip hop?
It's tough, man, you know, because I see a lot of people that I admire and I respect for different reasons. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, especially when it comes to Vatican life and the different things that I have going on with that community, this is kind of a weird example, but I really admire Dame Dash. I don't know if you're familiar with Dame Dash. Yep. He was from Rockefeller and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Dame Dash has gone on to do so many different ventures, both in music and fashion and all these different things. And a lot of people don't know how much he's put behind some of these biggest artists that are out nowadays. Sure. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, it's like when I was getting into performing by myself and whatnot, Dame Dash had this thing called DD 172 out in New York. And it was exactly what I had been dreaming about for Vatican life for like years. And I was like, wow, I was like, somebody really did this. I mean, unfortunately it didn't pan out. Yeah. But what they created in that time period is stuff that's going to last forever. Yeah. This place, it had a clothing store inside. It had recording studios. It had video editing studios. It had a performance place downstairs. It had an art gallery in the main foyer. Like, this place was everything you could encompass for putting out any sort of artistic medium. Yeah. And seeing that come to life was really what kind of like hit the pedal to the floor for me. I was like, wow, I was like, this is exactly what we need in the New England community. I was like, you know, we need these kind of work hubs where you can go in with an idea and come out with a finished product. Yeah. And just the passion that he had behind all these different artists and the amount of work that he put into these artists, you know, putting up his own money. You know, a lot of these artists, a lot of the biggest artists out in mainstream now, you know, for example, Currency, Wiz Khalifa, Big Crit, Smoke DZA, all of these people were all people that were working with Dame Dash, you know, 5+ years ago, and he was paying for them to have studio time, or, you know, giving them performances and promoting their records, and now almost all these guys have major deals and they have these big opportunities, and it's like he was the stepping stone for them, but he doesn't get the credit that he deserves necessarily. But he doesn't care because he's able to feed his family, and when that venture was done, he moved on to the next one. And I just admire somebody that is so passionate about having control of the content and control of the business, and figuring out what that fine line is to not having to restrict yourself artistically, but to make the money that you need to make off your work and that you deserve for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Well, let's play another track. Again, we have your disc here, Hymns for Him and Her Volume 1 Unloved, from Cody Pope. Preacher of Pain Eternal. By the way, what does that mean, Preacher of Pain Eternal?
Well, a lot of people ask me where Cody Pope came from. Yeah. And when I was still doing hardcore music and stuff like that, me and a buddy that I was in a band with, because we were writing these, like, you know, angsty, like, sad songs and stuff, you know. Yeah. People would always joke, and eventually the nickname came, you know, Preacher of Pain and the Governor of Grief. That was, you know, that's what they would call, you know, just because it was funny. And when I was getting into the hip hop thing, I was trying to figure out what I was going to name myself, and I wanted to use something that was, you know, as authentic to me as possible. You know, I didn't want to be, you know, Zany Cat or something crazy. You know, 'cause it's like that, you know, I'm Cody. That's who I am. So then I was like, oh, well, you know, Preacher of Pain. I was like trying to figure out where to go with it, because I was like, well, Preacher of Pain seems like a weird rap name to have. You know what I mean? Just seems kind of long and a little too dark and angsty. So then I was just like, oh, you know, Preacher of Pain Eternal. And, you know, I came from, you know, when I was growing up as a kid, I was into a lot, like, I kind of chose myself to get into a lot of these, like, religious kind of youth groups and churches and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why I was drawn to it. Honestly, there was girls that I thought were cute, and they would go, and I was like, well, it's not going to hurt me to go to some church thing. Like, right. But I did that for a few years, and by the time I was getting into high school and about to get on my way out of high school, I just had a lot of things that I didn't like about what was going on in the whole, you know, organized religion community. It's like, you know, no disrespect to anybody that those are those beliefs, but for me, it just felt so, like, constraining, and it felt darker than just being out in the real world as it is. I'm with you. And that's kind of where the Vatican life thing came from, is, you know, people that live in Vatican City live and breathe and die by what goes on at the Vatican and what, in the words of the Pope, and you know, they wake up, they have times that they go and eat and pray and walk, and they do all these different things. And it's like, well, if artists held themselves in that same manner, if people that were into art or making art were passionate about this stuff, and they lived their daily life by these same, you know, you wake up, you have art that you have to do, or you have writing, or you have recording or something, you know, if people treated their art in the same way that they treat these religious concepts, then who knows what the state of independent art and music could be like nowadays. So that's kind of where I got the idea for the Vatican life thing. And I was like, well, you know, the Pope of the Vatican, Preacher of Pain. I was like, where do I eternal? Yeah, you know? And, like, you know, a lot of people think Pope's my last name, but you know, I have a real name too. But my last name starts with an E, so it worked out. Preacher of Pain, E. You know, so Preacher of Pain Eternal. It's just, you know, I just, everything kind of felt right, and everything kind of came together organically. And that's part of the reason why I ran with it for so long. I dig it. Oh, very cool. All right, so we'll play this. So this next track, this is, I assume you want to go with number 3 next? Yeah, that's cool, definitely. I forgot to ask you. I'm just assuming. Yeah. Okay, so Some Sing. This was also produced by Decap. Some Sing from Cody Pope's new disc, Hymns for Him and Her, Volume 1 Unloved, here on a Local Outbreak on IPM Nation.
Some sold their souls for normalcy. I couldn't buzz with normal trophies. Don't know how to be proud of normal feet. So cold I burn the heat. Sticking to the script, that just ain't my style. Flipping while I'm spitting, you quaint, I'm wild. Artists who are starving make beautiful art. But if I don't got food to eat, will I be true to my art? Depression starts to set in while the sun starts setting. Looking for a blessing, need confession, sun's dreading. Looking to the future when my past already sutures. Want them to look what I can do, they hooked on Kama Sutra. I've seen men turn to kings, same kings turn to peasants. From royalty to spoil seed, from eagle to a pheasant. I learned from my mistakes, and I know I'm bound to make more. But I'll try to improve till my body falls to the lake floor. Cooking up Breaking Bad in this downward spiral. Got a couple singles, I'm waiting to go viral. Got a couple drops of acid waiting in this vial. Spit words long as the Nile, stenographer of the trial. I see these people come around, try to imitate. I'm the type to come around and straight end your fate. I hear your sounds, you go round, try to defend your plate. But I'm the type to eat a meal and leave nothing to scrape. Wait, no indiscretion, no need for a second guessing. I pay the price for the blessings, right here is where I'm confessing. Some sing to the synth, some sing to the drums. I sing for the kings and I sing for the slums. Some sing during good times, some sing being bad. I sing cause my voice is a thing to make you think back. Think what you have done, think where will you go? Who helped you get there? Who stayed on the road? What purpose is yours? How do you service others? If the best you got is talk, well walk and find another. I see the most sun on off days like Sunday. I was in the fog from Saturday back to Monday. When you study economics, you try to avoid gunplay. Cause money a more valuable tool than what some say. I walk Central Square and see all types of people. Motivated by places that man the rich and the people. America the beautiful tell us that we're all equal. Wonder if they'll say that post-apocalypse in the sequel. This body is a prison, this mind is made of bars. This vision is so dark it even blocks out the stars. This heart is a hell where the art still dwells. So brother, where art thou while I'm cast under spells? This Shakespeare ain't fake fear, it's a sign that equates near. Make deer of the cake here, related like headlights on a deer. Walking around the parking lot waiting to get hit. Cause in the rest of life I don't feel that I get ish. Some sing to the synth, some sing to the drums. I sing for the kings and I sing for the slums. Some sing during good times, some sing being bad. I sing cause my voice is a thing to make you think back. Think what you have done, think where will you go? Who helped you get there? Who stayed on the road? What purpose is yours? How do you service others? If the best you got is talk, well walk and find another. If the best you got is talk, well walk and find another. If the best you got is talk, well walk and find another. If the best you got is talk. If the best you got is talk. If the best you got is talk. If the best you got is talk, well walk and find another. Well walk and find another.
Local Outbreak on IPM Nation and 100.1 The Planet. We've been chatting tonight with Cody Pope, and before we wrap up with Cody, I do want to remind everybody, of course, that we do the show here every week at the studio at 50 Canal Street in downtown Laconia, New Hampshire. TheStudioNH.com is the website if you want to check it out online. And come on down, say hello to Melissa, buy some stuff. It's a very, very cool place if you need a gift for somebody. A lot of really cool, fun stuff in here, and some cool art too. So, and that changes. Up on the wall there, I'm looking at some art right now, and I don't understand it, but
I love it. I love it though.
Melissa's laughing.
I've been kind of just zoning out the whole time,
Yeah.
looking around, being like, "Wow, these are really cool."
Well, I'm looking at this one. What I'm pointing at right now, of course, the listeners can't see, but that one kind of scares me. That's shown up in my nightmares. Whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever that is. Yeah.
I don't know, I saw Carl Jung over there. He looks like he wants to kill me.
Yes. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Huh? Find out when I'm walking in my car later.
That's right. But come on down, check it out, and if you want to take a look at what we're talking about, don't wait too long because the art changes on a regular basis here. This will.
Closing reception on Friday night.
Okay, Melissa says so. This will be down this weekend, so they'll
be here before Friday night.
Yes. Well, actually, when this airs, it'll be too late. But what's that?
Be here every week.
There you go. Exactly. Yes. We do love to have a studio audience here, and the nice weather's rolling in. So I'll remind you, too, of course, we are sponsored by Tweak Sound and Mastering. Matt Marcil does a great job. If you need some recording done, tweaksound.com. He's right in Concord, New Hampshire. And, of course, Central NH Events, Tim Martin. If you need a DJ for your event, your shindig, your hootenanny, your corporate function, whatever it is, Tim does a great job. CentralNHEvents.com. And Of course, too, we archive all the shows at ipmnation.com/local outbreak. And Cody, thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been an honor to be up here.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, where should people go online to keep up with everything you're doing, Vatican Life, your other artists you work
obviously, I'm on social media, Facebook and Twitter and all that. You can find me. It's, Cody Pope HC. I also just launched a new Cody Pope website. It's cody-pope.com.
Excellent.
Or www.cody-pope.com. And if you want to grab the new CD, Hymns for Him and Her, Volume 1, it's on iTunes, it's on Amazon, it's on Spotify. Or if you want to help me pay some bills and put some money right in my pocket, go right to Bandcamp, codypope.bandcamp.com. You can get right on there for like $4 or $5 or something like that.
Excellent.
We're actually, the CDs are about to sell out, so if you want a CD, go to the merch store. You can grab one of the last ones we have or pre-order it. But Cody Pope, cody-pope.com, and all that good stuff. Make sure you find me, send me a message, say what's up. Tell me if you like the music. Tell me if you hate it. Maybe I'll talk back to you. We'll see.
Yeah. Do you have any touring that you're going to be doing coming up? Or?
We have a bunch of shows coming up. The next show we're doing is April 3rd. We're going to be in Pelham, New Hampshire. We host a showcase called Misery Loves Company.
Oh.
We do that once or twice a month in Pelham at a
cool.
cigar bar.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool event. There's couches, hookahs, all that kind of stuff. We have an artist coming up from New Orleans. His name is AF the Naysayer.
Okay.
So it's going to be him, this group, Metatron, myself, Brains, and a few other people. And then this summer we'll be out on tour. We're going to try and hit the West Coast, hit the East Coast, maybe do Canada at one point.
Yeah.
We're doing the South for a little bit. We're trying to go everywhere we can. So if you book shows and you want us in your town or you want me in your town, email me, hit me up, message me, however possible. I want to come play for you in your store, your house, your living room, your basement, your kitchen, wherever you want to have a show. Let's do this.
Corporate functions, those pay well.
Absolutely. Hey, I would love to, I used to work in banquets. I can put on the suit and do some wrap and tie stuff.
There you go. Absolutely. Cody, this has been great. Again, the disc is called Hymns for Him and Her, Volume 1, Unloved. And we have one track left, so I guess by process of elimination, we'll play Hymns for the Soul. Anything you want us to know about this?
It kind of goes without saying. This was a really special record for me to do. It's the start of a really important series in my career, and I think there's a lot of stuff on here that people can relate to that can help them either get through some stuff or just figure out why they're not getting through some stuff and what they can do about it. I want to thank everybody that's supported Vatican Life over the years and supported me. Hymns 2 is coming out in May. We got a bunch of other records coming out, so look out for Hymns 2 in May. 8biz's Old Buick music is coming out soon, too.
Excellent.
Stay tuned to Vatican Life. Stay tuned to Cody Pope. Check out dunblog.com. And, of course, obviously check this out on ipmnation.com.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So we will leave you with Hymns for the Soul from Cody Pope here on Local Outbreak. Thanks, Cody.
Thank you. Young and old. This was written by a soul with a dark past. This for the places where you get in your car fast. This a hymn for the homeless at heart. Whether you're sinning just alone in the dark. I'm fine, out of my mind, just working the daily grind. Running out of time, impatient to stay in line. Hard to mind your biz when kids get in the business. Get up out my way, you die just like the pigeons. They gonna shoot us anyway for thinking we rob a store. What they gonna do? We got jobs and we not poor. They lock us up anyways for smoking the up and joint. Protectors serve, they not knowing the up point. They not knowing the up and point. They not knowing the up and point. They not knowing the up and point. They got the gun and they're ready to fuck the point. Christmas gifts on eBay. No gods, but we pray. No what he say. Bad luck that be may. Christmas be stressful. Devils red dress kill. No money to show love. Spent money on my drugs. Lucky if I'm paid $100 a show. It was my time to die, but someone bucked to the crows. Barely living anyways, clearly it shows. Living taking what I'm giving, but you know how it goes. Money, 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 still the root of all my darkness. Life like a joint, but I got nothing to spark. There's someone animal they shouldn't have put in Noah's Ark. The curse can come, and you hear the herald hark. This another blessed hymn for her, them, and him. This for the ones who ready to
Shoot, I know it ain't gon' pow pow. You start with me, you gon' ask yourself how now. Will I get hot or you bringing me down now? Kick verses like words from Ali Gandhi. Whether Babylon or Baghdad, you never bomb me. Try to live with lessons that my older peers taught me. Do everything to the fullest, don't ever be sloppy. Treat a woman like a queen, unless she acting like a fiend. Then her heart is in a spleen. She be cruel, she be mean. You need both greens and protein. If you're both mean, then Pope leave. Call them hymns, cause they made for everyone. If you mad, don't talk, go run and get a gun. Call them hymns, cause they important as God. Trying to say what matters, I'm just doing my job. I grip the mic like a preacher, grip the pulpit. I'm first aid, baby, always got a full kit. Never catch Pope as a witness of a culprit. Long as I can dodge it, I don't need all of that official. I'm just here to share of my pain. When you drought, don't tell that Pope bringing rain. Some of my will to live slain, and I'm a little insane. Aggressive like cocaine, put in your nose a vein. Never petty, never vain, slightly off kilter. Rapping like I'm bossy, but none of them got a filter. Life like a woman, and I damn near killed her. Playing with them needles, but never was I a quilter. Spit shit from my chest, that's what I know best. Why would I just say what's said by the rest? I write hymns for homies, people who don't know me. I write hymns for you, strangers till we cronies. This another blessed hymn for her, them, and him. This for the ones who ready to sink or swim. This for all my lights who make bright out of dim. This for the ones who make thickness out of thin. This another blessed hymn for her, them, and him. This for the ones who ready to sink or swim. This for all my lights who make bright out of dim. This for the ones who make thickness out of thin. This another blessed hymn for her, them, and him. This for the ones who ready to sink or swim.
IPMNation.com